Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. My name is Dorothy Wallace, and I've been a member of this congregation since 1997 and currently serve as the congregational president. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information, and inspiration. To begin, let's acknowledge this geographical place where we are currently located, the home of and traditional lands of the Coahuiltecan people, original and indigenous stewards of this land, now called Bexar County, and San Antonio, Texas. At our church, we believe and act in a universal love that binds us in mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice, for all, and our planet. Our faith is all-inclusive, and all means all. If you are new to us or visiting for the first time today, we welcome you to sign in on the chat stream and fill out a visitor's card. We'd like to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you will find your place with us.
You escaped from that train, just as it jumped the rail, said, my luck's back again. Fell off of a cliff, but on your way down, grabbed onto a stick. You got to get home and change your shirt, wash your face, shake out your shoes, and your friends will raise their glass to you, 'cause everything is gonna be alright tonight. Just grab your keys, it's gonna be alright tonight. When your boat went down, you swam right past the sharks and got back to town. And still your heart pumps, and there's still air right there in your lungs. So now you know, you heard it here first. Everything is gonna be alright tonight. Just wait and see, it's gonna be alright tonight. And everything is gonna be alright tonight. Just stick with me, it's gonna be alright tonight. 60 million years ago, the earth was fried when a meteor struck and the dinosaurs all died. But everything will be alright tonight. Everything is gonna be alright tonight. Everything is gonna be alright tonight.
The flaming chalice unites our members in worship and symbolizes the spirit of our faith. Our chalice lighting words are by Alice Berry. Children of the earth and sky, we are nurtured, sustained, given a warmth and light from above and below. Supported by earth's strong, fertile soil, we build our homes, work the fields, plant our gardens and orchards. When we turn from self and seek to be aware, we find holy light in human faces, in blossom, birdsong, and sky. Then earth is truly our home, and we are one with all earth's populations. As parents of earth's children yet to be.
We are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where all are welcome as blessings and the human family lives in forgiveness and grace, whole and reconciled. We know that this aim takes work, and so we are committed to live and behave as a community in covenant. Let's recite our covenant that articulates our guidelines and binds us together in community. The words can be found on your screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other.
The Flower Communion service was created by Norbert Chapek, who lived from 1870 to 1942. He founded the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia. On June 4, 1923, he introduced this special service to the church in Prague. For some time, he had felt the need for a symbolic ritual that would bind people more closely together. The format had to be one that would not alienate any who had forsaken other religious traditions.
The traditional Christian communion service with bread and wine was unacceptable to the members of his congregation because of their strong reaction against the Catholic faith. So he turned to the native beauty of their countryside for elements of a communion which would be genuine to them. This simple flower celebration was the result. It was such a success that it was held yearly just before the summer recess of the church.
As a way for us to connect as a community, you are invited to share a joyful event, a sorrow, or a concern by entering it on the chat string. Please let us know what is in your heart, for ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we come fully alive. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are heard and held in compassion. At this time, may we listen more deeply and grow more involved and connected to each other. Let's join now in silent meditation as we write our joys and sorrows on the chat screen while Jaime plays our meditation music. I invite you to take a deep, cleansing breath and exhale. For all our joys, sorrows, and concerns, may we feel empathy and compassion. And for all that is unspoken, may the caring of our community offer a space of deep kindness, loving, and just action. I'd like to offer some words of reflection and prayer entitled The Blessing of Rain, Sun, and Earth, written by our former interim minister, the Reverend Maureen Caloret. As the rain has washed our land this season, may we enter this morning with hearts washed clean of complaints or bitterness. And may we continue this day by intentionally relaxing the tensions we carry, the strains of those things we cannot abandon, the responsibilities of our lives. As the sun has warmed our land this season, may we allow the warmth of this community to heal our broken places. And may the fog be lifted so that we can see into each other clearly. May we rejoice in the blessings of companions who, if we will open ourselves just a little, will truly greet us with compassion and care. As the earth, nourished by rain, brings forth flowers to surround us with beauty that we celebrate today, may we too allow our spirits to bloom as a community of care and celebration, even as we acknowledge the complexities of our days. Amen and amen.
One Flower in a Field, adapted from a story by Joshua Sarles White. Once upon a time there was a field. It had dry grass, brambles and thistles, and high places and low places, and rocks scattered around, and a stream that passed alongside. Scattered around, here, there, and everywhere were wildflowers. Bluebonnets and primroses, and thistles and coneflowers, and wine cups, and all kinds of bright, beautiful flowers growing up out of the dry grass. Now, you may ask, how could these flowers grow when the field was so dry? The answer is that next to each flower was a hole in the ground, and in each hole lived an animal whose job it was to tend that flower. Most were rabbits, but there were hedgehogs and field mice and even a badger or two. Every morning each animal would come out of its hole, hop or scurry down to the stream, and use a leaf to scoop up some water. Then they would each carry their leaf back and water their flower. In a little gully in this field, next to a tall sunflower, lived a rabbit. Every day she would go down to the stream and get some water for her sunflower. She loved that flower. It was tall and bright, strong and healthy, and she took very good care of it. One afternoon, the rabbit decided to hop up to the top of a little hill alongside her gully. When she got to the top, she saw something she had never seen before. Down a ways, she saw a flower. It might have been a daisy, but it was hard to tell. She'd never actually seen a flower that looked as bad as this. She hopped down to the hill to take a closer look, and then she began to understand. This flower needed water. Its petals were wilting in the heat. The ground around it was parched and dry. The rabbit felt bad that a flower could be so neglected, and then she did nothing. But it started to get to her. The rabbit thought about that flower at night while she was trying to sleep. She thought about it in the morning when she hopped to the stream for water. She couldn't even enjoy her own flower so much, knowing the other flowers wilting more and more each day. Now, you may wonder, why didn't that rabbit just go over and water the flower? After all, it was not far away, just on the other side of the hill. The stream had plenty of water, and the rabbit had plenty of time. Well, that's a good question. The rabbit thought about it all the time. She'd think about making an extra trip to the stream to get some water for that flower. But then she'd think, well, you don't just march into someone's front yard and water their flower without asking, do you? What if the flower is someone else's to water? They might yell at me or something. Or she'd think, What if the flower likes being dried up and droopy? That's possible, isn't it? Or she'd think, aren't there other animals who are supposed to go around and help out flowers whose animals don't water them? I should leave it to them, right? With all these questions swirling in her head, the rabbit went about her business, taking care of her sunflower every day and trying not to think about the other flower. But it kept bothering her, especially at night. Sometimes she wished the flower would just get better by itself. But every time she sneaked a peek, there it was, looking more dry, more wilted, and more droopy. Finally, the rabbit could stand it no longer. One morning, hopping from the stream with a leaf full of water for her sunflower, she suddenly thought, "It's just not right. Flowers are not supposed to wilt like that. Flowers should be healthy and colorful and bright and beautiful." And she found herself hopping over the hill toward the other flower, taking the water there instead. The rabbit hopped close to the dry flower, closer than she had been before. Then suddenly, a hedgehog popped out of a hole in the ground next to the wilted flower. The hedgehog yelled, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm going to water this flower," the rabbit said. "It's too dry, and if I don't water it, it will die," the hedgehog said. "What business of it is yours whether this flower dies? This is my flower. I'll take care of it how I want. Go home and take care of your own flower." But the rabbit answered, "I'm sorry, but I tried that. Flowers are supposed to be bright and beautiful, not wilting and droopy, so I'm going to water this flower." She watered that dry, wilted, drooping daisy right in front of the hedgehog, though he fussed and mumbled and gave her mean looks. And she turned around and hopped back over the hill. The next day, she came back with a leaf full of water and watered it again. And the day after that, she watered it again. Then another day and another and another. The hedgehog continued to fuss and mumble and give the rabbit mean looks. But the flowers started to look better. First the petals perked up, then the stem began to stand up a little straighter. Then its leaves started to fill out and get bigger. The flower even grew a little taller. Strangely enough, as this flower got brighter and healthier and taller and more beautiful, so did the rabbit's own flower. And so did every other flower, all the flowers in the field, even ones she never watered, flowers she had never even noticed before. The whole field began to brighten as the colors of every flower became more vivid and the flowers stretched taller. It was almost as if there was more water everywhere. How could that be? Were other rabbits and hedgehogs and field mice and even badgers sneaking around and watering other animals' flowers too? Or was it because when someone waters a wilting flower somewhere, all flowers everywhere grow a little brighter? Who knows? Maybe we'll just have to try it and see.
It is now time for the offertory. The offertory brings us the opportunity to share our gifts, gifts that have nourished our hearts and can bring inspiration and care to others. Our church is a spiritual community enlivened by us. How are we supporting it? We answer by saying that it's in the sharing of our talents, our time, and our treasure. We are grateful for all who pledged and helped us to exceed our stated and envisioned goal. I love it when that happens. Won't you celebrate that with me? Celebrate our success as a congregation that exceeded the goal of our pledge drive. Let's remember our Stewardship Committee's appeal to you on February 28th at the launch of the pledge drive. We called for us to become a more participatory, more caring, and more alive community. We invited a 100% participation in our pledge drive. And while we haven't quite achieved that specific goal, we are on our way to it, and thank all of you who give to the community and hope that those of you who haven't pledged will still do so. For your generosity, we thank you and say, blessed be.
This town is gonna eat us alive. This town is gonna wreck our life. This town is gonna do us in. This town is gonna rearrange our skin. This town is just too dangerous. It really isn't safe for us. Red ants under the porch are awake. A volcano on Main Street, a hurricane on the lake. Such a shame we have to tear it down. But tear it down. Tear it down. Tear it down. Tear it down. Shouldn't have to risk our lives. And even though the weather's so nice, this town is gonna melt us down in time without a sound. It's such a shame we have to tear it down. But tear it down. Tear it down. Tear it down. Cut the wires running through the trees. Cut the wires and the town is free. So let it go.
Thank you, Monomials. Your music has blessed us today. I'd like to share this meditation on a flower by the Reverend Gary Kowalski that I've adapted for today's celebration. He begins, "Take a moment to contemplate a flower in your imagination. It has a center, a focal point from which everything radiates. Ask yourself where your own center lies. Flowers stretch up toward the life-giving sun. Ask yourself, toward what lofty aim does your own life aspire? Flowers have roots hugging the earth. Ask yourself, where do you draw your own strength and nourishment? As we celebrate this day, may we grow like flowers in the company of our spiritual community, in beauty, in light, in cheer and joy, and may we share our gifts as freely as our lovely flowers bloom. May it be so. Our message today is about our flower celebration. I'd like to acknowledge Reginald Zatoli for writing this brief history for us that I'll share with you today. The flower communion was brought to the United States in 1940 and introduced to the members of our Cambridge, Massachusetts Unitarian Church by Dr. Norbert Čapek's wife, Maya von Čapek. The Czech-born Maya had met Norbert in New York City while he was studying for his PhD, and it was at her urging that Norbert left the Baptist ministry and turned to Unitarianism. The Čapeks returned to Czechoslovakia in 1921 and established the dynamic liberal church in Prague. Maya Čapek was ordained in 1926, and it was during her tour of the United States that she introduced the flower communion, which had been developed in the Prague church. Unfortunately, Maya was unable to return to Prague during the outbreak of World War II, and it was not until the war was over that Norbert Čapek's death in the Nazi concentration camp was revealed. From this beginning, the flower communion service has spread to many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations, and they've each adapted it in certain ways along the way, as we will today. Here's how the original flower communion looked. People were asked to bring a flower of their choice, either from their own gardens or from a field, a roadside, or a flower stand. When they arrived at church, a large vase stood waiting in the vestibule, attended by 2 young members of the religious education school. Now, each person was asked to place their own flower in the vase. This signified that it was by their own free will that they joined with the others. The vase that contained all the flowers was a symbol of a united church in community. The young attendants then helped with the arrangement of the bouquet and carried the vase up to the front of the sanctuary and placed it on a table there. Dr. Čapek then said a prayer, after which he walked over and consecrated the flowers while the congregation stood in respect. The 2 attendants then took the vase back out to the vestibule. After the service, as people left the church, they went to the vase and each took a flower from the vase other than the one that they had brought. You see, the significance of the flower communion is that no 2 flowers are alike, and no 2 people are alike. Yet each has a contribution to make. Together, the flowers form a beautiful bouquet. Our common bouquet would not be the same without the unique addition of each individual flower. And thus it is with our church community. It would not be the same without each and every one of us. Thus, this service is a statement about our community. by exchanging flowers, we show our willingness to walk together in our search for truth and meaning, disregarding all that might divide us. Each person takes home a flower brought by someone else, thus symbolizing our shared expression of community. This communion of sharing is essential to a free people of a free religion. Thus ends the story of the original flower communion, and you can see how we've adapted it to First UU. May this be so today and always. Namaste, Shalom, Salam, Bendiciones, and blessed be. We extinguish our chalice for now, and I encourage all of us to keep our fires burning for peace, love, and justice. Let us enjoy the postlude by Jaime and the opportunity to enter your expressions on the chat stream. We thank all of those who participated in making today's celebration a reality, particularly our Stewardship Committee, Ron Meneses for his videography, of course, the Monomials for their wonderful, uplifting, and original music. But wait, there's more. After our brief Zoom coffee hour, I invite you to join with Carolyn and me and our Stewardship Committee on our church campus for a 30-minute concert performance by The Foreign Arm, featuring Andrea Vocab Sanderson. That's right. Let's get together. All of you who RSVP'd after coffee hour at our church campus, beginning as early as 12:15. We've made this service brief, as we will the coffee hour, so that we can join together in person on this day at our church. The live concert will begin at 1 o'clock. Meanwhile, tacos and beverages will be provided by our Stewardship Committee as long as they last, and they can also be purchased from the Ay Que Rico taco truck until 2 p.m. You may wish to bring a chair and sit outdoors on the lawn close up to the band near the statue of St. Francis between buildings 3 and 4. Or drive right into the parking lot as you're guided by our ushers to the north side at the end of the lawn leading up to buildings 3 and 4. By the way, building 3 is our office building that many of you may know. You can roll down your windows, stay in your car, and enjoy the gathering and the fine music from this creative rhythm and blues and soul music makers. Be sure to bring your flower for the live celebration of the flowers. We'll receive yours and exchange it for one of ours, so that you have some flowers to take home and continue today's celebration of our community and our successful pledge drive. We are indeed a blessing to each other. Let's make more blessings happen today. Thank you for being with us.